to make sure that we have better results in the meets and masters. This is the results for the math. The state at 72%, the region at 74%, and the district at 76%. And we have also the meets and masters, 43 for the state and region, 35 for the district, and then that was for the meets, and then for the masters, 17%, 16%, and 8%. These are the results for science. At the state level, 75%, region level, 75%, and the district, 68%. It also has the meets and masters, 43, 40, and 25 for the meets, and 16, 12, and 4% for the district for the masters. And then the 2024 STAR for social studies, the state 78%, the region 77%, and the district 72%. Then we have the meets and masters. Our district was at 36% and at 12% for the masters. However, what I presented to you right now is based on all the region and all the states. So we wanted to make sure that we reflect a true picture and we would compare us to districts that are similar to us. So if you look at it, we have Progreso ISD, Santa Rosa ISD, Dawn ISD, Santa Maria ISD, Monte Alto, and EdCouch, which more or less are similar to our demographics. And this is for all grades and all subjects. For approaches level, Progreso ISD was at 72%, while Santa Rosa at 70%, Donna 68%, Santa Maria 67%, Monte Alto 66%, and EdCouch ELSA 57%, so we were higher in that area. If we look at the meets, we were at 37%, while Santa Rosa was at 39%, Donna ISD was at 36%, Santa Maria was at 74%, Monte Alto was at 74%, and EdCouch was at 26%. And then if you look at the meets, it was pretty consistent across the districts. Again, this is reflecting all grade levels, all STAR tests, and all subjects. Then we go to our 2024 school progress. This is the annual growth. How did our students do when it came to growth? So if they got a 67 last year, and this year they got a 72, that counts as growth, right? And this is for all students who took the STAR test or the EOC. And it gets the results from the ELA STAR or the reading STAR for the little ones and the math test. Those are the two main factors or main subjects. All grades for both subjects stayed at 64%, region at 64%, and the district was at 62%, which is very consistent across. Then we had all grades for ELA and reading, 67% at the state level, 66% at the region level, and 63% at the district level. And then for mathematics, all grades, the state was at 60%, the region was at 62%, and the district at 61%. Now I'm going to present to you the school progress accelerated growth. This is reflecting the students who failed the previous year, but this year they had growth, but they also passed, which is one of our strong contexts here in Progreso ISD, and that's one thing that we were talking when we met with the principals. It seems that the previous year we were focusing on those students who had failed, and we wanted for them to pass the test. However, we cannot forget that we have students that pass the test, but we need to make sure that they get into the meets and masters level, right? So for both subjects, state at 32%, the region at 36%, and we were at 40%, which means 40% of our students that did not pass the test the previous year passed the test this year for reading and math. Now for ELA reading, state 30%, region 30%, and we were at 36%, which means 36% of our students who did not pass the reading or the ELA the previous year passed it, and they showed growth. And then the last one is mathematics. The state was at 35%, the region at 42%, and our district was at 44%. The attendance report on TAFER reflects 2 years prior to 2025, and that's the way the table reflects it for every district. For the 2022-2023 school year, we were at 92% versus the region 92% and the state 93%. In 2021 and 22, the district was at a 90%, 90.70. So we had about a 1.5 percentage points more than the previous year. Again, this is reflecting 2 years prior to 2025, which is the 2022-2023. We have the annual dropout rate for ETMS, which reflects 7th and 8th grade. Last year, we did not have any students. That's why we have 0%. At the state level, we had 0.8%, and at the regional level, 0.4%. At the high school, 9th through 12th grade, we had a 2.4 dropout rate, and these are students that somehow leave the district, but they do not enroll in another district. In most of the cases, some students go to Mexico and we cannot find them. If they're here in the United States, we try to get them, even if they're migrant students, to make sure that they register in a high school. But in our case, when they go to Mexico, it's a little harder, but we're working on that. At the regional level, we had 1%, and at the state level, 2%. 4-year graduation rate, these are students who start 9th grade and they graduate in 12th grade. At the state level, 90%, at the regional level, 93%, and at the district level, 88.6%. This was the class of 2023. The previous year, class of 2022, we were at 87.9%. College-ready graduates, in comparison to the state and the region, state 64%, region 64%, and the district was at 51%. TSI criteria, and this is for both subjects, ELA and math. We have the state at 48%, region at 48%, and the district at 32%. But if we look at the associate degrees, look at this, 20% of our students graduate with an associate degree, which is fantastic. That means that those students are saving money through college. So that is 20%. Obviously, we want more students, but if we compare it to the region, 6%, only 6% of our students in the region graduate with an associate's degree, and 3% at the state level. And then if we take a look at dual courses in any subject, 41% of our students are taking college classes at the high school versus 29% at the region and 24% at the state. These are demographics. 99.7% of our students are economically disadvantaged versus the state, 62.3%. Non-educational disadvantage, these are students who do not qualify to get the federal free meal. We are at 0.3% versus 37.7% at the state level. The emerging bilinguals or English learner students, 61.4% versus 24.4% at the state level. Students with disciplinary placement, 0.7% versus 1.9% at the state level. Immigrant, 1.2% versus 2.9% at the state level. Migrant, 9.7% versus 0.2%. And students at risk, 76.7% versus 53.2% at the state level. This is our ethnic distribution. Obviously, 99% of our students are Hispanic. Then the enrollment by instructional programs, bilingual education is 70.3%. CTE, this is district-wide, 19.8%. CTE, just the high school, which is 9th through 12th grade, we have 58.2% of our students taking CTE classes. Gifted and talented, 11%, and special education, 8.8%. And this is something very, very important that I would like for everybody to take note. This is the distribution of years of experience that our teachers have. 10% of our teachers are beginning teachers. So they started last year, 10% of all of them. Then we have 1 through 5 years of experience, 16%. 6 through 10 years of experience, 11, I'm sorry, 6 through 10 years of experience, 16%. I'm sorry, 21%. But look at this, 11 through 20 years of experience, 29%, which means that the majority of our teachers, if we divide them in categories, have a lot of experience. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we take care of those teachers so they stay here. And one of our obstacles, obviously, is to compete with Donna, with Westlaco, that pay more. So we're trying our best to make sure that we have a strong fund balance to try to motivate them to stay. But look at this, 29%. So we have 50% of our teachers between 6 and 20 years of experience. So these are teachers that are very hardworking individuals, but they're also very loyal to the district. So we are pushing our best to motivate them to stay here with us. And that's all we have. Do you have any questions?
At this time, we have any questions from the public?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, as I was seeing the data, on which is good news, we seem to be improving on the needs of masters for the students. What I wanted to know, at the elementary level, what is your student ratio per classroom, per teacher?
I'm very strict. I'm the one that goes 22-1. But in some instances, because we have bilingual students or students that are getting ELA in Spanish, some of the classes are at 15-1, 16-1. So the standard more or less is between 18-22 in a regular class. But if it's a special case where we have bilingual students there, it's about 16 per teacher.
The reason I'm asking is because when you compare the state and the region and then the art campus, which is awesome, we're almost there, but the comparison, I want to know on state and region, is it the same number of ratio of students? That we did not see. Like, how much is the ratio per classroom in the state level and the region level? Because it makes a big difference. Obviously, we're a smaller district. We have 300 students per campus. So obviously, we're gonna have smaller classrooms. And that is a real good benefit for our district compared to the state and local level. So I feel that we do need more improvement. And we have experienced teachers, as you say, that have been here for a long time. And I think we should be at a higher level since we have a smaller ratio of students, but that's my opinion.
No, it's very, very good opinion, ma'am. One thing that I can tell you at the elementary levels, we do have intervention teachers that pull out students, and maybe as part of the actual schedule, you'll see 20 students per one teacher, right? But once the day starts and we do rotations, some teachers pull out students to do that one-on-one if they need that help. So we turn it into a tutorial program from within the rotation. But yes, very, very good point, and we'll work on that.
And that's just the elementary, but the high school and middle school, what is your student ratio?
So the high school and middle school, it's a little lower because of the need of the students. So we have classes that have 16, 17 students per one teacher because of that. For instance, at DTMS, I can tell you that in 8th grade, we test reading.
It's right here.
Oh, you have that?
You can read it.
Okay, perfect. For instance, at DTMS, we have the 8th grade that take the STAR test for reading, math, science, and social studies. So for that grade level, we gave DTMS 2 teachers in science, 2 teachers in social studies. But in 7th grade, because of the rotation, and they only take the STAR in reading and math, they don't have those 2 teachers. They have 1 for science and 1 for social studies. So it depends on the need. Now, here, let me see, the class size information. So this is reflecting last year. So I would have to go get the one for this year, but the one from last year in kindergarten, it was a 19.9 versus the state 18.4. Then first grade, 18.8 for the district, 18.8 for the state, which is the same, right? For second grade, 24.1 versus 19.1. Third grade, 16.9 versus 19.4 at the state level. Fourth grade, 19.5 to 19.4, which is very consistent. Fifth grade, 16.6 to 20.9. So it seems that in fifth grade, our classes were lower last year versus the state, because fifth grade does not have a cap. So you can have 25 students in a fifth grade class. But again, we try to keep it the same as everybody else, like the 22 to 1. And then sixth grade, 15.3 versus 19.2, which is again lower than the state as well. But thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you for clarifying.
Anybody else?
Mr. Pettis?
Yes.
On the STAR test, I saw that only math is over than the state and the region. And I know you guys are implementing the Bluebonnet curriculum
We're barely gonna do it.
Right.
Right, the high
for
school.
math, right? So what are you guys looking at for science, social studies, and ELA?
So for science, we started a new adoption this year. So the one we tested last year was for the previous adoption. So this year, we started with a brand new adoption that came from the state.
So the expectation is to make it
Definitely,
higher.
yes. And one thing we did differently this year than last year, for instance, at Progreso Elementary, because that's one part where we saw that there was a decrease from one year to the next. This year, we moved the teacher and we put him as a science lab teacher. It's like an intervention class where students go through the concept, but doing experiments manually. Last year, we didn't have that. In fact, that teacher was in another grade level. And this year, we're seeing with our benchmark results that students are doing better in science.
And social studies and ELA.
The social studies, so we test social studies at DTMS in high school. High school did excellent. I think we got 96%. Last year, social studies, the weakness and the problem that we have is at DTMS, where social studies is tested through 96 TEKS, and we're barely gonna get a new adoption. We were supposed to get it this year. Are you here, Ms. Molina? We were supposed to get it this year, but we didn't. But that was not our fault. It was the state. So starting next year, we're gonna start with a brand new curriculum, and we're planning to bring teachers during the summer to do the curriculum writing to make sure that the lessons are ready for the following year.
I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, on the graduation rate, you did talk about the dropout rate, and I wanted to know, like, on your graduation rate, is it including also the students that go to early college?
Yes.
All
Yes.
together?
Yes, so the high school is one high school, and we divide it into two mini schools per se. One is the early college and one the high school, but all of the students count as the high school
So
student.
the percentage you gave overall, the 80-something%, I think you mentioned, that includes them?
Yes, it includes all of them.
So, on the, another question is gonna say, on the, attendance and the dropout rate, you mentioned also some students, they go to Mexico, and they don't come back. Are they recent immigrants, or they're basically
No,
students
from
that?
what we've seen, our students are here, and for situations with the family, they go back and they don't come back to school. So in order for them to do not count as dropout, they need to register in a U.S. School. So if they go to Mexico and they don't register, we automatically lose them. And we're trying our best. I mean, we've done incentives where we tell them that we're gonna give them a computer for them to connect through a laptop. But those students that go to Mexico and we don't have any type of interaction or connection with them, we lose them.
Okay, another question, on the, ones that receive an associate's degree, you mentioned it was like 20%,
Yes.
out of how many in your early college?
So the 20% is reflecting all high school students, not only the early college. So if we focus on the early college, I would say what, 90,
We're always at 90 and above, every year.
more than
And
90%
how
of our
many
students.
students at the early college per se group graduate?
Each cohort's very different, so last year our cohort was 28. This year our cohort's gonna be 29.
So out of those 20 or 29, all of 90%?
Yes, ma'am?
Okay, associates. degree, but what is the most, associate's degree they get here in the district, like for early college, like the highest program, what is the one that they?
Like the degree program name?
Yeah,
Uh,
no,
it-
no, the program, like, is it for nursing, is it for health?
It's interdisciplinary studies. We get an associate's, like a basic,
Basic?
where it can go through any of the major. There is specified students that are in academy. Those kiddos are getting associates either in biology, engineering. They're specified, but it's only a few of those that go that route.
Any other questions?
Just on attendance,
Go ahead.
your PEMS department, right? That's what the core of a lot of the funding for the state, right? Are you guys satisfied making sure that the software that you use or your methods are the perfect one for the district? I know there's different options, just like the curriculum, you can choose different software and stuff like that. I mean, yes, you guys
So
are
the software that
confident?
we get is the one that Region One has, so we're happy with the software. PEMS is in charge of inputting the
Right.
information, right? Going back to the actual process of getting students into school, right, the attendance part, one thing that we've noticed in the past is that we have families that are repeaters, and I'll say it like that. So if this family has a third grader and a fifth grader and a seventh grader and a high school student, if one is not here, then all of them are not here. So that has an impact. Instead of just having one student that is absent, you have four from within that same family. One thing that the law changed after COVID, it made it harder for us to send those people to the judge. But we still talk to the parents and we tell them, you know what, if the student is absent, then we're gonna have to send you to court. But then we send them to court and guess what? The judge is like, no, you know what, the school has to handle it. One thing that we can do for the future is create an actual district policy where we take care of the actual consequence. Like we can charge parents, I don't know, $5 if the student is absent 3 times. That's something that we would have to talk to the board to see if that's something that they want to do for next year.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the public? All right, okay, at this time, we go to board discussion following the 2023 and 2024 Texas Academic Performance Report. Any questions, discussion with the board?
No.
All right, at this time, I'll need a motion to approve. Motion by Martinez, second by Rivera, on favor say aye. Aye, motion passes. At this time, we need a motion to adjourn, public hearing. Motion to adjourn, Ms. Rivera. Second, Ms. Flores, on favor say aye. Aye. 6:25, meeting adjourned. At this time, can we call meeting to order for a regular board meeting? Can we all please stand up for the pledge of allegiance and Texas flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor to the flag, I pledge allegiance to the United one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Mr. Corona, can you do the purpose?
Yes, sir. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here today. Please guide us and give us the wisdom to make the best decisions for our students and our community. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Ms. do we have the public audience? Ms. Marcelo? All right. At this time, we go to district reports. Mr. Coronado?
Yes, sir. Again,
Mr. Coronado, before we start, can we just, go over some, I saw some stuff going on social media about the reimbursement of the school board members on travels. Can you explain that, Ms. Salomon, first, please?
Yes, Mr.
I just want to point out to the public as well why the reason we get reimbursed.
Good evening, Mr. Board President, members of the board and community. So the way reimbursements work is board members will pay for travel fees, including airline tickets, mileage, and meals out of your own pocket to attend required trainings and conferences. After the training, you as board members submit copies of your receipts to Superintendent Coronado and the business office. They process your receipts and then payment is given to you for what was already paid out of your own pocket. So that's the way the reimbursements work for traveling to these required conferences.
Perfect. Okay, Ms. Salomon, I just want to put that in the record. Watch.
Thank you, sir. Let me start with Progreso Elementary. Ms. Garcia is here. We want to thank you, Ms. Garcia, and we want to say that we're very proud of you and your students. They got first place in the UIL competition in Santa Rosa with 11 campuses. And you're talking about IDEA, Harlingen, Santa Rosa. On behalf of the board and our administration, man, thank you so much. We're planning to do something for our kids pretty soon, so we'll get back to you. But once again, congratulations. We're going to be testing TELPAs this week. All of our campuses are starting the TELPAs this week and next week, just in case if we have a rotation of the different schedule that we have, it's going to be because of TELPAs. Also, good news, we got the LASSO grant for instructional leaders, $65,000 that will go to the high school. On another note, I had a meeting with the marketing committee last week, and we're gonna start our first commercial before we go into spring break. And we're gonna be doing those commercials at least every month, so that way the community and other districts see all of the great things that are happening here in Progreso. Sometimes we just tend to listen to the negative stuff, but believe me, a lot of positive things are happening in our district, and we want for everyone to know all of those factors and variables. On another note, we are going to contract Channel 4 for our senior students who are going to graduate, and that's going to be awesome also. That's one of the initiatives that we're creating this year. Thank you very much, ma'am, for sending us the information. It's going to be better than Santa Maria's.
Okay, they're my kids too.
Yeah, we know. So we're going to start with Channel 4 as well. Once we have the information, I'll let you know, but they're starting already. I have the work orders report. If you have any maintenance workers complaining, that's a good thing because they're working very hard. And we're meeting with them on a weekly basis. We're checking, and you have the report there with you. Also, I talked to some of the community members, and there was one concern when it came to the actual live video. I'm talking on the actual microphone, but it's this speaker, so this one is not connected to the actual system. So we're gonna order individual microphones that will be connected to the system, so that way everyone that is watching us through YouTube has, you know, a better perception of the message that we want to send. Hopefully, we'll have that ready for the next meeting. And guess what? George Lazaro is not here, but the auditorium is ready. We are going to open the auditorium for all the events that we want to have. I mean, right now we're just talking about all the positive things that are happening. And the auditorium is a top-notch auditorium. I think it's one of the best in South Texas. We are planning to have our Spring Festival March 11th. So we're going to invite all the community members. We're fixing just minor things like the lights and the speakers. But the main thing, which was the stage, is already set. Mr. Lazaro is going to send us a confirmation letter already. But I know that you were asking about it, and we're about to open it. We had an SBDM committee meeting today, basically focusing on the District of Innovation. We are planning to change our starting date for the first day of instruction because we want to compete with IDEA and Weslaco. One of the things we saw this year is that IDEA started August 15th school, right? And then Weslaco started on August 19th. And some parents were like, hey, because I'm working, I need to make sure that our students go to school. And we started until the last week of August. So the SBDM voted, and unanimously they said, yes, we're going to be playing around with the calendar. We're going to give them different options. But on their behalf, they wanted for me to tell you thank you for the different stipends that we gave out, especially the attendance one. The teachers were very, very happy. Community members, this year we started with different stipends, and one of them had to do with attendance. So if the teachers are not absent during the first semester, they get $500. And then the second semester, another $500. And it's great because we were spending a lot of money in substitutes. So in reality, it's just an investment for our students and our teachers. And believe me, we had those teachers in the morning, and they were very, very happy about it. They were like, oh, I got sick, but no, I don't want to lose my attendance money, so they would show up. So it was a great investment. So Ford, thank you very much for that. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions? Yes.
All right, I know we talked earlier today and we've been talking the past weeks about the water, the
Yes.
drinking water for the kids. It's really bad. It tastes really bad. And kids, I went to the PPMS earlier this month and it was, and I checked it out. I know we had talked about it and I checked it out. Not even the teacher would drink from it. I wouldn't drink from it. It got to my attention that the kids were not happy with it. I don't know, maybe we could do something in the near future to make something about that happen.
Definitely. So
The machine that we had, what happened with that?
So those are, I don't want to say brand new machines, but we bought them 2 years ago. And they have been changing the filters, and they changed it a month ago. So we're gonna call the company because they're saying that it was water supply, what's the name, Juan?
Yeah.
The military supply. So the company was saying, in reality, it's not us, it's them, the filter is there. I'm not sure, I want to make sure that it's on writing, so they're coming back this week to check it. I know you said DTMS, but I want for them to check all of the schools.
Any other question? No? Anything else?
That's all, sir.
All right.
Thank you very much.
That doesn't go to adoption of the board resolution authorizing the continuing wage payments during the school closure due to bad weather.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, as you recall, we had a day, January 21st, that we sent everybody home because it was very, very cold. We just need for you to pass the resolution stating that all of our employees are going to get paid.
Any questions?
No.
All right.
At this time, I'll make a motion to approve the adoption of the board resolution authorizing continued wages payment during school closure due to bad weather on January 21st.
Second.
Motion by Garcia, second by Guerrero, and favor say aye. Aye, motion passes. This time we'll go to C1, approval for the road happy accident partnership with Santa Maria del Dee for the MOU.
Yes, we have Mr. Alvarez in Region 1 here with us. Mr. Come over this way. So let me get to yours.
Thank you. Well, good evening. Mr. President, board members, Coronado audience. My name is Raul Alvarez. Can you all hear me? I'm okay like this. I'm not used to the mic sometimes. My voice just carries. I am Raul Alvarez and I'm with Region 1. And I'm here to talk to you all a little bit, to share with you a little bit about initiative that we're working on. I'm the bottom guy, Joe Garza. He's out right now somewhere else. So I'd like to start by letting you know what the initiative is. As you were looking at the TAPER report, you're seeing the mentioning of career and technical education. Career and technical education has changed a lot since we were in school. Used to be something that kids would take just to kind of help them get by the day while they're taking math and science. The state has realized that we need to do a better job in preparing our students to be career ready. We're doing it, having them become college ready, but we're not doing it so much on the career ready. So what the state did is it's putting together accountability measures to make sure that school districts work towards getting kids not just college or career ready, but college and career ready. Their goal is by 2030, at least 60% of Texans in the state of Texas will possess a degree, certificate, or any other post-secondary credential. That's what's been placed on the superintendents of the state. So, as accountability is rising for school districts to account for college and career readiness, what's been happening is that some of the smaller school districts are struggling a little. There's over 600 school districts in the state of Texas that have a population of 1,600 or lower. And so when the state meets with them, the state of Texas there, we are Region 1. Region 1 is the one that's highlighted. The rest of the other regions in the state. What they're noticing is that the smaller school districts, because of their size, because of their population, because of their demographics, because of funding, they're having a harder time in meeting these college and career standards that are set for every district. The standards don't change if you're Houston, if you're Dallas, if you're Santa Maria, if you're Progreso. The expectations for the percentages of how many kids graduate college and career is set standard across. So the 88th Texas Legislature in 2023 came out with a plan, and they call it under House Bill 2209, the RPEP program. RPEP standing for Rural Pathway Excellence Partnership. Essentially, it's modeled off of 3 that are in existence right now. Region 15, Region 12, Region 2. First, you have to meet the eligibility requirements. You have to have an enrollment of fewer than 1,600 students. Districts must be within 100 miles of each other. I'm going to explain this a little bit more. You have to have college and career CTE pathways that not only produce industry-based certifications, but open the door for the students to go to college, or open the door for them to go to work, or open the door for them to go to both. You have to have a coordinating entity. That's where Region 1 will come in. Because we understand that school districts need that support, and it's difficult for them to do it by themselves. And we have to have a performance agreement that we have to submit to the state, saying that we're partnering with the ISDs. Essentially what it is, in a nutshell, students from one district can be bused over to a neighboring district to take a CTE program that's offered at that district that's not offered in their home district, without affecting ADA, without affecting funding, without affecting attendance. The goal is for school districts that have it, why are you competing against one another? Let's form an old-fashioned co-op, if you will, and we bus students, let's say to Santa Maria, to take a course over there that's not offered here. But on record and on paper, it'll show that that course is a Progreso ISD student and it's a Progreso ISD CTE program. The investment for the district is the busing of the students. Vice versa. Santa Maria will be there and say, we can bus students over to Progreso to take a program that we don't offer in Santa Maria. The students bus, take the course, and then go back to their home campus. It doesn't take away from them participating in sports, athletics, band, any other UIL activities. An incentive for the districts is what the state has said about funding. So initially we took an RPEP student right here, and I'll take y'all through it real quickly. A student in the state of Texas, a student in Progreso, is going to earn approximately $6,160. That's how much money each student is worth in Progreso. Now that's assuming, of course, perfect attendance. Because once the student starts missing days, then that 6160 starts to reduce. That's why the principals, that's why the board, that's why the superintendent is always pushing for perfect attendance and keep coming to school. Because anytime a student is absent, that's going to take the number down. Now, if a student is enrolled in a CTE program and a pathway, that's the next step up right here. Because they're enrolled in CTE pathway, that's going to give them between 10 to 47% more money back into the basic allotment. It's adding to it. The more students that are enrolled in CTE programs, the more money that that student generates. The next step up is your CCMR outcome bonus. If you have pathways that are aligned and coherently sequenced and are giving completers and concentrators, and the kids are ending with an industry-based certification, the state has what they call CCMR, which is College Career and Military Readiness Outcome Bonus. That's between $2,000 to $7,000 more. The difference is, kind of small, my apologies. If the student is economically disadvantaged, it's $5,000. If the student is non-economically disadvantaged, it's $3,000. If the student is identified as special education, then it's the $5,000 plus the $2,000, which gives it $7,000. I believe Progreso was about 99% economically disadvantaged. If the students are participating in an RPET program, the program where they're taking classes with, let's say, Santa Maria, there's an additional bonus that they get. They get between 25 to 29 more $100 added to the ADA, plus money for maintenance and operations, and an RPEP outcome bonus. The RPEP outcome bonus is between $1,500 to $750, $1,500 if they're economically disadvantaged, if they enroll in a college and earn an industry-based certification or a certificate while in college, and that's up to 5 years after they graduate. That money will come back to the district because they paid the way. I know that's a lot, so we simplified it down. Say you start with freshmen. You take that 6,100 all the way across, right? So let's go all the way down. You start getting all the bonuses that come into it. That student's going to earn about $10,000. Sophomore year, another 10,000. Junior, senior year, it starts going up because as the courses go up, level 2, level 3, level 4, more advanced courses, more money is being earned by the student. Essentially, that one student will earn the district approximately $49,726 over the course of 4 years. So I want to show you that it's actually in operation right now. Region 1 has formed RGB Career with 6 school districts in Region 1 right now. La Sara, Lyford, San Carlita, Santa Rosa, La Villa, and Monte Alto. These 6 school districts met the criteria. That criteria that we covered back there. Working with Region 1 as their coordinating entity, we were able to formulate a plan for them. That's the busing. That's where all those, y'all know where all these are, right? Yeah, everybody knows where these are. San Felipe's our furthest, that's the one that goes out to Port Mansfield. We developed the following academies at each one, based on what wasn't offered or what the need was at each of these school districts. In La Villa, we have the Law and Public Service Academy, and we also offer a non-commissioned security guard level 2 certification through the Department of DPS. Kids who want to take law, like say at La Sara, they don't have a law teacher, they don't have a law program, we bus them to La Villa. In La Sara, there's the Health Science Academy, where the students are working on CMA at this point. In Lyford, we have a teacher academy. They're working on the TEA Education Aid 1. Monte Alto, we have a manufacturing academy, which is welding. They're working on 2 certifications there. San Felipe has a business academy, where they're offering the entrepreneurship and small business certification. Remember, all the IBCs count for accountability and help you with the CCMAR bonus and work towards a coherent sequence of courses. Santa Rosa is offering the Media Arts Academy, which is your graphic arts and your videoing like they're doing here. Region 1 is ready for phase 2, and we're working on Region 1 RPEP extensions. The reason I'm here tonight, thank you so much. Region 1 is pretty vast. Right now, we have broken it down to northern, southern, western, and of course, the eastern area was RGB Career. We are now working with Jim Hogg County and Webb County, partnering with Laredo United, way up there in Webb and Jim Hogg. We are working with San Isidro and Rio Grande City, Grulio. Y'all come in, Southern Division. We call it Southern Division for now until we come up with a formal name. We would like Progreso ISD and Santa Maria ISD to partner. Eight miles, 10 minutes. We can leverage resources. We're sharing teachers. You don't have to invest in hiring new teachers. We're sharing learning spaces. Transportation would be the only thing that would come into play here, and the state has allowed, if you travel from one school district to another, you get reimbursed $1 a mile.
What about students' liability?
I'm sorry.
What about the students' liability? I was responsible for the students,
The liability, the district.
the district. Even of the other districts, sir?
Yes. So your students would be, because you would still be Progresso ISD students. They're just traveling to another location to learn. It's very similar to like if they were on a field trip where they go compete in a sport game, the liability falls on the home.
The teachers go, when they're in a field trip, they have teachers from our district with them. If they go to another campus, another school, are our teachers going with them or one, or a chaperone or something like that?
You know, and that's interesting that you bring it up because Lyford ISD, they have chaperones and they use a para to go. Some of the other ISDs don't. Because once you get them to, okay, let's say from Progresso to, and my apologies, I was looking at I didn't see you. They get on a bus here in Progresso. The bus driver takes them over to Santa Maria. Once they get down there, the principal at the high school welcomes them in, escorts them over to the classroom where they're learning. They're learning with a Santa Maria teacher, for example. So the security guard, the safety of them getting there, the bus driver, entering the campus with all the security protocols in place, that's all on Santa Maria. Then Santa Maria releases them when the bell's done and they get back on the bus, and then they come back through here. And so it's almost like every day they're doing a field trip. But you bring up a great point because it could be, it's all up to the district, how they feel about having a para going or having there was really no need for the teacher because the teacher salary you're going to pay for a teacher, they're not doing any instruction. It's more of a chaperoning type of position. And so that is something that most definitely the school district.
That's something basically we do with STC, right? Hussein?
Yes.
Thank
Yeah, whatever you have in place, we abide by that. We are here. This is our timeline and our schedule. We have submitted a letter of intent to the state, to TEA. That's our intent that we would, of course, with y'all's blessing to continue and have this come to fruition. The application to the state is due on March 31st. On your behalf as a coordinating entity, we would do all the paperwork, we would do all the legwork, we would take care of all documentation for you all. We work with your superintendent to make sure everything is in place. If this is something that you'd love to move forward with, then what's gonna happen is once we submit in March, it'll be in May when TEA decides to release RPEPs and say, yes, you're allowed to do it. We have a history of successfully getting it done. We do not foresee this in talking to TA, there's going to be an issue getting it done here. We don't see there being any obstacles. Once they release us, 5/30, year one would be 25, 26. Now, the money part, because that's always a big issue. 25, 26 will be the year that the state has to collect the data. That's why they always work with lag data. Even like the taper, it's always a year behind because they need the year to collect the data. How many kids are in our head? How many kids are being transported every day? How many kids? And so all that data is on 25, 26. When 26, 27 kicks off, which is year two, that's when the state releases the money for year one. They do that with almost every funding source and regulation that's out there. I am open to any questions that you have.
That's it?
That's it, yes.
Perfect. Any questions from the board?
We're just gonna go over the programs that we offer, right? We're gonna compare both and see which ones are the ones that are gonna benefit the students more.
Yes. What we've done is we've done a pre-analysis right now to look and see, for example, one big interest that we saw. It has to meet, of course, high demand in the area. That's one thing that we have to do. We work with the Texas Workforce Commission to ensure that all those academies, like when we picked up these academies back over here, we made sure that they align to the region. And so in doing that, what we saw, possibly, of course, we still need to finesse and finalize the decision. An interest was shown for manufacturing over here and for business real estate over there.
So basically, the main step is getting the MOU approved, basically, right?
Yeah,
That's the first
just
step.
so they
Yes,
can move
sir.
forward.
All right, no problem. Any questions? questions? Concerns?
Thank you all for your time.
No problem.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for tuning.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alvarez. And I just don't want, I do want to say that I talked to him about the CDL certification, and Region One is going to help us out.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'll make a motion to approve the Rural Pathway Excellence Partnership Program with the Santa Maria is with the MOU.
Motion Garcia, second Villalona, on favor say aye. Motion passes. At this time, we have to nominate and approve a board member to serve as on the advisory board. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. We need one more member to be part of the
Wait,
advisory board.
any discussion board? Anybody really interested?
That's fine, we can discuss. You can nominate me from,
You know the system over.
I'll make a motion to nominate Ms. Flores as our advisory, to be on the advisory board for the MOU with Santa Maria.
Motion made by Mr. Garcia, second by Ms. Martinez, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. This time we go to City Police Department MOU.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, I talked to our city manager, Mr. Trevino, and our mayor. And at the end, we were going back and forth because we did not pass the MOU at the beginning of the year for whatever reason, but we restructured it, stayed the same with the same amount. 2 police officers. Once you guys passed it, we're gonna need to do the rotation in the hours. But the actual payment did not change. Now, take into consideration that this MOU started about 3 years ago, so the pay of police officers went up, but City Progreso is gonna help us out, so they kept it the same in good faith, so we're gonna be working together with that. The recommendation is for us to pass it.
Any discussion?
All right, at this time, make a motion to approve the MOU with the City of Progreso Police Department.
second.
Motion by Mr. Garcia, second by Ms. Flores, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. This time we're gonna pretty documented for the hourly employees, Mr. Correa.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, as I mentioned right now, we were going through a transitional period with the STAR, with plan of action, with the taper that we presented. However, we also think that it's time for us to start transitioning into the actual clocking in and out with the finger. The system that we're using is from 1985. I kid you not. It's been like that for many, many years. I'm asking authorization to start looking for a system, then bring it to you, and then you choose to.
Whatever happened to the system that we had before?
At one time, we had issues with, we were using the hand actually, and we had a lot of issues with the hand, there was a line.
We have work easy in Santa Maria and it's pretty simple.
Which is the finger.
Yeah, it's just, they make a record of all your fingers or 3 of your fingers and it's really easy to get.
Try to get some information on that too.
Yes, so right now it's authorization. I can go and then bring it to you.
No problem.
Different
All
options.
right, at this time, make a motion to authorize Mr. Coronado to look into different clocking methods for hourly employees.
Second, motion by Mr. Garcia, second by Mr. Costa, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. This review and approve the, I'm sorry, it's the intruder, the check on the report.
Yes, we had a visit from the state on Progreso Early Childhood. Thank God, everything was great. There were no corrective actions. And I know last time we were discussing about the first audit that we had, so I went back and checked. So I wanted to make sure I didn't want to give you any wrong information. And 3 years ago, 2022, we invested, once we got the first audit, we invested $30,000 by fixing different doors throughout the district. So that's why we're getting this very positive results. I think that the only one this year was the high school with those 3 doors. So in 2022, we spent $28,000 fixing about, I want to say, 25 doors. But this year, you guys voted to replace the ones that don't work. We're getting brand new ones for those that cannot be fixed. And we invested about $130,000 this year. So they already started with just so you know. Going back to, Progreso Early Childhood, everything was great.
Any questions?
That was done with the safety grant, right?
No, the $30,000 was not,
No,
this
3
year.
years, what we're gonna start.
Yes, that's with the safety grant, yes, you're right.
This time I make a motion to approve the contributor addition audit report presented by Mr. Coronel.
Second.
Motion by Garcia, second by Ms. Rivera, for say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. This, now we go to review and approve fourth century, film proposal.
Mr. Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. The district went out for bids for fourth century resistant film. We received 3 proposals from 2 vendors, and we're recommending Sensational Solutions from Austin, Texas, and the total cost is $55,731.50.
It's important to note that it's coming from the safety grant as well.
So, any questions, discussion on item D4? No?
Do we get the other two?
Or
We got 2, we just got 2, we have the 365 in the calidad.
what are you talking about? The grant?
Oh.
No, this is for the.
So we're talking about the resistant film, the one that goes on the actual, that's the one,
Yes,
yes.
that one, yes. We have to that on the windows, on the doors, and the windows, anything that's lower than 4 feet high.
You didn't have the price for the other 2?
Yeah.
Yes, they're in the evaluation sheets on the back, on the last page.
It has like a rating.
The last one. We're gonna go with S40.
Oh.
I'm missing it too. You don't have it.
Just give me a month.
I want to see the PSI. Now,
All right, for the first one, Sensational Solution, the total price was $55,731, which was, the sample that I provided you. Carolina Premier Window, was for 3M film was $58,000 with $12. Now, Carolina also submitted an alternative, film, which was the Eastman film. That one cost $50,634. But based on the tabulation and the warranty, Sensational Solution provided 10-year warranty on the product and lifetime warranty on the installation. So that's how they got it.
How many years?
10.
10 years.
Only 2?
Yeah.
Any questions?
Are we good with transitional? This time I make a motion to approve the resistant film proposal and go with the recommendation of Sensational Solutions.
Motion by Garcia, second by Rivera, for say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. At this time, we go to the approval to the fence proposal.
Yes, sir. We went for proposals from previously approved vendors. We received 2 proposals, one from 365 Builders and the other one from Calidad Construction. We had an issue with Calidad Construction where, or description sequence, where they didn't quote the correct linear feet. For that reason, and I don't want to say the price right now to the board decides on the decision on the route how to make. We're recommending 365 based on what we have.
So can you explain what you just said about Calidad, that they did a?
Yes, the linear feet, they quoted less linear feet.
Yeah, let me explain it, so that way, I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's clear, we want to be transparent about it. So we got 3 companies, right, that went through RFP. We voted last time, those 3 companies were the ones we chose, and we did a walkthrough, and we gave them a deadline to turn in the actual quote. We only got 2 companies, so one didn't turn it in, so that company's out. From those 3 companies, Calidad turned it in, and 365 Builders turned it in. However, the linear, if you look at page Calidad, which is the second page, it has 6,800 linear feet. It was supposed to be 8,000 what?
8,500.
8,500. What I told Juan is you do the math, what would be the price for 8,500? And they were still higher than the other company with the 8,500 linear feet. So basically, the problem there is they put 6,800 instead of 8,500. But again, we did the math and they were higher than this company.
For no purpose of disqualification, right?
No, but I mean, in reality, we want to be transparent, we want to tell you, even if they do the 8,500, Calidad was going to be more expensive, yeah.
Any questions on the funds proposed? And they said that once we get it
On this
going,
one, we don't have any. What were these?
Yeah, there are the research quantity. Those are the.
We haven't done any item of, like, for the item.
No, well, with Calidad, yes. They fix the door and they fix the time clock in the ceiling.
And with 365 builders,
We have,
who's recommending them? You read the references or what, like, when we revise some documents that it says who?
When we did the RFPs,
yeah, they submitted the qualification.
But remember, it has references too, like, that you can call people and see their quality of work and everything else.
Mhm.
Did you call them?
No, we just wasn't, but it was approved.
Because if we approve them and we haven't even called references, it's like when you hire someone and you haven't even called the references.
we have some of those, but no. Last time when we presented, when we presented the RFPs, you guys voted for the three, so we went with the three.
I don't know, what do you all think?
I'll just.
I mean, these are the only two options we have, and we need to move forward.
Yeah, and I was gonna say
All right,
that.
let's do this, okay, let's do this, what we can do is make a motion to approve the company while, based on what the references say. If the references say are no good,
Attorney, can we do that?
yes, you can. Yes, you can. So we can do that, see the references, if the references are no good, we come back and then let us know, but if they are good, we'll just give them the authorization to proceed with the fence.
Because what I was gonna say is, it's a 2 to 3 month process for the RFPs.
Yeah, and that's why I know that we need the fences. to
Yeah,
look at
correct.
them.
Let's just do that, let's give approval, do two references, give authorization to superintendent, want to look into it, and if the references come out good, we'll move on with the project. Does that sound good?
Did any of them mention you, the warranty?
No, we check on the word.
Yeah, just check on that, we'll just go on
Yeah,
there and then.
we just want to make sure we get it.
Just for the record, this is coming also from the grant.
Yeah.
We have $1 million. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be more expensive when I saw the number. I was like, okay, we're gonna have some.
And we'll have money to, are we gonna have money for the fence at the auditorium? What are we gonna do with that after all?
You know what? That's a very, very idea.
So,
The front is including here. The
okay,
front.
but, I mean, we wanna make it look nice, if we're gonna go that route. I'm gonna use written.
Yeah,
And then if we're gonna give them the project, you can work out something, 'cause then,
definitely. I'm good negotiating.
either you.
So, we're all on the same page, George? All right, let's go.
¿Estos los que están aquí, no consiguen? Súmalos. Ya, that's Juan. Pues, Juan, súmalos.
Yes, there is,
Nada más, sí confirmaste los
sí,
tres.
yes.
O sea, no de que vamos a regresar y no estaban
No,
como.
no, I-
Tú allá, tú allá.
Yes.
Okay, suicide.
All right.
Remember the
Motion, yes, does I make a motion to approve the fence proposal by Mr. Hernandez for 365 builders pending references and warranty?
Correct. Motion by Mr. Garcia. Second by Mr. Acosta, the first say aye. Aye, motion passes. At this time, please, at this time, go to purchase for the band uniforms.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, as you recall, we've been talking about band uniforms. We had option 1, which is this one. I believe it was you have it there? $24,000. Then option 2,
27,996.
$27,996. Then we have option 2,
75,618.
$75,618. Then we have option 3.
93,950.
Recommendation is to go with option 2, which is $75,000.
Was it number one?
And that's what the students want, right?
This is what the
For the
student
advisory.
wants. Yeah. The only thing with number one, it was the actual quality of the uniform. And the band director told me that it was gonna last 1, 2 years.
So, option two.
Yes.
Is that what they picked?
Yes, that's what they.
All right, at this time, make a motion to purchase the band uniforms, option number two.
Motion by Garcia, second by Rivera, favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. This time donation of soccer uniforms, Mr. Bruno.
Yes, our soccer team is trending, and if you're not seeing it in Facebook, TikTok, everywhere, we won 24-0 in that open argument across the valley. The district is doing great. We're number one in the state of Texas compared to any school district here in the valley. We're doing great. So we have Mr. Jose Garza, Mr. Hugo Gamboa, Mr. Dago Trevino, who donated this beautiful uniform to our soccer team. It doesn't mean that they don't have the tools or the money. We do. We're providing everything. This came from their heart. Let me show it to you in the community. I talked to UIL about it. The uniform will belong to the Progreso ISD. It belongs to the district, not the students, not the soccer team, the district. So one thing I told the coaches is make sure that you keep them because we cannot give it away. It's a donation for the district. Recommendation from administration is to accept the donation.
At this time, make a motion to accept the donation of the soccer uniforms.
And let me just share with before we move on the second one, because there was another donation from Mr. Jose Luis Flores. They donated this one. One thing I told the coaches, because I called UIL, the only thing with this uniform is it has a logo, so they cannot play with this uniform because of the logo. However, they can practice with the uniform, especially right now that it's cold outside. They'll be using it for practice.
Before you go, motion, Mr. Garza, thank you for the donation, appreciate you.
Mr. Garza, thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, make a motion to approve the donation of the soccer uniforms.
Motion by Garcia, second by Costa, favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. This time, collection development policy.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you. My name is Mr. Torre. I'm the librarian here for the district, and I wanted to go ahead and go over the collection development policy. Okay? The reason why we're needing to have a collection development policy is HB 900. Okay, so it's known as the Reader Act, and it's an acronym for Restricting Explicit and Adult Designated Education Resources. Originally, vendors were the ones that were supposed to provide a list for all the librarians in the state. They sued Governor Abbott, and they went ahead and won that lawsuit. And so the librarians are the ones that are going to have to be in charge of this. So it would have been easier for them to give us a list, and we would have simply gone into our collection and taken any books out. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. So these are some of the components that we are looking at, right? So HB 900, this is what we're going to need to do. So we're going to have to weed out any books that we may have that violate HB 900, and we can not purchase, obviously, any books that would violate HB 900. The other thing is you'll see specifically in the collection development policy that parents have the final say-so, right, to access to library material, and they've always had that. I want to reiterate, if a parent came to the library and basically said, I don't want my student to read this certain book, they've always had that access. We'll flag the book in our system, and then that student will not be allowed to read that book. And then finally, we just need a board-approved collections policy. So many school districts don't necessarily have a collection development policy because we do have, when we become librarians, we have trainings, we have other resources But now, because of HB 900, we need specifically to have a collection development policy that has these two items in it. And what's the purpose? So basically our purpose is, does it support the teams? Does it enhance the curriculum? And also, basically we want to make sure that students are enjoying reading. And lastly, one of the things that I always try to do is have books that have Latino authors, illustrators, and characters so that the students feel represented when they're reading these books, right? So, and ultimately the responsibility for the collection is the librarian. I work closely with principals, with library aides, the students, teachers, and they will provide recommendations. And then from there, I'm able to sort of go ahead and order books. I also work closely with our book vendors, and they provide recommendations as well. And again, it's just to make sure that everything's accurate and correct. Again, parent access is super important. You'll notice in the collection development policy, there's like several areas where they talk about parent access. So our online catalogs are available on the school website. So parents have always had access to that. They can simply go select whichever school, and they have complete access to what we have in our libraries. There's also a reconsideration form, and that is basically if a parent has an issue with any sort of book, they're welcome to go ahead and turn in this reconsideration form, and we'll have a committee and so forth, which I'll go over in a few more slides. And the committee will go ahead and review if the book will remain on the shelf. Also, we'll have surveys available at the library just to provide feedback. Compliance requirements. So basically, I'm going to work with vendors, consult book reviews, and our Region 1 library coordinator, and we'll just make sure, so any, again, library material that violates HB 900 will be immediately removed from the shelves. There are exceptions to books, so if anything that is a literary, artistic, or political and scientific value, they're permitted to remain on the shelf. So for example, a nonfiction book that may be, let's say for like biology, they have like the reproduction. Obviously there will probably be like genitalia, however, so that can still remain because it is a scientific value for our collection. Any college board reading list for AP exams, that would also be an exception to what can remain on the shelves. And then evaluation and selection, again, it's just working closely with our vendors, looking at reviews, things like that, to go ahead and really be sure that we are not violating this specifically. Deselection, so not only are we weeding out any books that violate HB 900, we also weed out books for poor physical condition, low circulation, incorrect information, and if they're just simply not needed. So I mean, if we have a book on a typewriter, we simply can weed that out, right? We don't use typewriters anymore. Plan of action. So I'll go ahead, the main area I would see would probably be the high school. We would definitely need to start there. Again, because the students are more mature, they could deal with more mature content. So that's where I would go ahead and start to go ahead and weed out books. And then again, just providing the guidance to parents on how to retrieve the online category, provide surveys at the library for feedback, and having the reconsideration forms available for parents. And this is the proposed reconsideration process. So if a parent, and again, the parent has to have a student in that particular campus in the district. So it can't be any outside parents that come in. It can only be parents that are within the district. And it'll only apply to that campus. So if someone wants, let's say, for example, like a Harry Potter book reconsidered at the elementary and they have a student there, then they can go ahead and fill in that recommendation form for them. Once they receive it, the principal, administrator, or superintendent will select an ad hoc review committee within 10 school days. And it's suggested to have a teacher, an administrator, a librarian, ELA teacher, and a member of the committee, or community, I'm sorry. And then once that committee is approved, that committee has up to 60 days to go ahead and go through the book and just to have meetings and make sure if it's something that will remain on the shelves. If the committee decides to weed out the material, we'll go ahead and immediately remove it from the shelf, weed it out of the system. If the committee decides to keep it, it will remain on the shelf and cannot be reconsidered for 2 years. If a parent is not, so if the item remains on the shelves and the parent's unhappy, they do have an appeal process. They can go ahead and write a written appeal to the superintendent within 10 days after the meeting, or their decision is told to them. And then once the superintendent receives that appeal, his or her designee will appoint another appeal committee within 10 school days. And again, it's suggested to have the librarian, administrator, curriculum director, a principal, and instructional facilitator. Again, these are just suggestions, there can be others. And then once the appeal committee reviews and examines everything, their decision is final. So if they decide we'll go ahead and keep it on the shelves, they'll go ahead and keep it. If they decide we no longer want it on the shelves, then they'll go ahead and take it off. Any questions?
Any questions? On the policy? So that's gonna be board approval on this one, right?
It is, yes.
Correct.
And also, just as a note, there's no liability. They also wrote that into. So I mean, of course, you know, we're human. We make mistakes. If there happens to be some book that we just happen to not get or didn't catch, the school board, librarian, teachers, there's no liability. It's just something that we have to show that we're doing.
Correct.
This is an added.
Appreciate it. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Does someone make a motion to approve the collection development policy?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Garcia, second by Ms. Acosta, I mean, Ms. Flores, all in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Aye, motion passes. This time you go to cash disbursement, Mr. Hernandez.
Yes, sir, total cash disbursement for the month of January, $504,555.89.
Questions, members of the board?
For review only.
For review, cash disbursements. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I did have one question.
Do you have one, Ms. Martinez?
First of all, I thought that for the parade it was for free, the toll for the parade, and I found out we paid for it. And then the other question was, it says repair high school children, training company. And it's on 12425 for $9,195. Why are we repairing something that's new?
No, the chiller wasn't new. We got one new chiller, and then we had two that are not new. So we have three chiller systems.
The district was with three.
So
High school
all
was
of them
with
you
two.
paid, was them to replace all of them? It was just one?
Yeah, it was just one. Because at the time, the other two were working.
Hmm.
That's the question with Martinez.
And then I have another question. It says DTMS roof maintenance, 10,561. I know it says printed and wrong check. And then it's again 131.25. DTMS general maintenance. What are we paying there for?
They're the company that actually installed the roof. We do yearly maintenance on that roof
At
at
DTMS?
UTMS.
The
we can
gym
do-
roof or the
No, the whole-
general?
Everything, the whole.
We do have a warranty for
30 years.
30 years.
It's a warranty of 30 years, but we have to pay them $10,000 every year.
They come and do basically maintenance, anything, they'll come clean it, anything, any debris, anything.
So there's no leaks, there's nothing at DTM? No leaks, no
No.
concerns, nothing?
So whenever we have leaks, we call them right away.
And they're really
They've been good.
compliant?
Yeah, no, yes, it's part of the warranty.
I just wanted to clarify that. A ver, ¿qué más nos diría? A ver,
For the record, that company was hired about 12 years ago,
2013.
2013, so yes.
Investment report?
Yes, sir. Total investment for the month of January, 10,279,000 to total current earnings of $38,942. And this requires your approval.
Question?
This time make a motion to approve the investment report as presented by Mr. Hernandez.
Motion by Garcia, second by Ms. Guerrero, on preside.
Aye.
Motion passes. Tax collection, Mr. Rodriguez.
The total collection to date is 2.5 million, with total outstanding of 1.6. And those require approval.
Yes, good?
Yeah.
All right, at this time make a motion to approve the tax collection report as presented by Mr. Hernandez.
Motion by Garcia, second by Arroyo, on favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Do we have a budget update?
Yes, total revenue received, 8.4 million, total expenditures, 7.3 million. It's for information.
When are you gonna start closing the budgets for the schools?
I already did.
You already did.
Right now, we're just allowing any purchases that
Are
I
the
feel is.
principals okay with that?
No, they were
Are
not.
we okay with that?
They were not okay with it, obviously, but we're helping them out. Like, if they want to buy a resource right now that is supplemental, obviously I'm telling them. hey,
You
first
need it,
semester,
like,
what-
right now it's when you need it. I'm not okay with that.
Okay,
I'll talk to the principal.
great. But they haven't said anything about materials. so.
Okay, because, I mean, right now, I'm still buying a lot of stuff, especially before my Blitz and my Star Academies and all of that.
I do have to say that they already spent 95% of their budget.
What they did.
All right, 7:24, is the executive session.
Thank you very much.